Thanks for having me on. Yeah, feeling good, feeling comfortable. Um, never, it's not the sort of fight because I guess there's no title on the line, and I've been used to some big nights. It's not the sort of fight that I'm necessarily buzzing about, but it was still a satisfying win after some of the stuff that was said in the week. And yes, it was really important for me to get the win for those reasons exactly. So very pleased and satisfied with the victory.
I do want to get onto that, but I mean, just from the point of view of your fight being the first on the card as well, is that a bit weird? Because you've been used to these like 10 p.m. fights, 10 p.m., 11 o'clock. This one was at what, quarter past five, half past five? Was that a bit different for you having to bring your routine for fight day so much earlier?
Yeah, it was actually. It was quite a bit different. I was a little, not panicky is not the right word, but aware of it, and thinking about it kind of on the day of the weigh-in. Obviously, we had the 10 a.m. weigh-in at the hotel. Oh, sorry, 11 a.m. weigh-in at the hotel. And then we went to, that had the ceremonial weigh-in. But yeah, on the day of the fight, it was a little bit different, in terms of probably missing a meal. I'd usually have probably three meals. I only sort of had two proper big meals, and then had obviously had the like just fluids and stuff like that, getting calories in like that. So yeah, preparation slightly changed, but and I guess the atmosphere as well. It's daylight. It's a massive, massive stadium, and no one's in there. And yeah, and then I think I was looking around for me at ringside, and my mum and family, and they weren't there when I got there because since been told that they got told it was going to be 6 p.m. and then they eventually just got there just as the first bell went, basically, um, because they realised I was on. So a lot of things were different for being on that early, but obviously it was all good in the end.
Did that unsettle you at all, or you feel like you took it in your stride?
Um, I don't know. I've just literally just watched the fight back now on the telly, and it's I was sharp enough early on, and I did a lot of my good work early on. Although it was still closer early on, I took all of his sting out of his shots and all his attributes away from him by hitting the body early on. I think that took a lot out of him. I did some really good body work in there, um, and I was sharp and switched on. So who knows? It's hard to say without knowing what it would have been like, had it been different and had the other side of without seeing the other side of things. But yeah, like I was pretty sharp early on, but the later on I felt really comfortable, so I was probably a bit laboured at times and losing my shape a little bit, but I still was comfortable in the fight.
I know the broadcast said you looked quite tired earlier on, and they were a bit worried from that. Did you feel tired, or did you feel okay in there in those early stages?
Yeah, I felt fine. I heard, I think it was the DAZN broadcast was ridiculous, to be honest with you. Uh, the commentators, not all of them,
A
but
few of them said they had
um,
Glanton winning afterwards, didn't they?
well, yeah, I mean, the actual commentators fight the blow by blow stuff were very one-sided towards Glanton, and then obviously after you had Frampton and Tony Bellew saying they edged towards Glanton, which is just laughable. I don't know what they've got against me, but uh, you know, people are always gonna be bitter about something, so I'll just let them be.
Tell me what your main takeaways are from literally just watching it back now, from your performance. Has it changed the way you felt having got out the ring?
Um, no, not really. Like I said, not I didn't feel underwhelmed because I didn't put much expectation on it, and I think that's I got a perfect. So I got out the ring, all week. Obviously, I guess the show wasn't about me, and that's fine. I'm very um happy to be and honoured to be on such a big card, but I can't get excited about a big fight card when I've got to compete and perform on it. The main event never. The fight itself after the fight was amazing. We had it on in the car home, but that was my point. I did my drugs test, did my interviews, got back to the hotel, had some dinner, and then drove home. So um, that was kind of my mindset was just a very turning up to work sort of mode. So it's a bit different from normal. Um, and that's not like me being anti, the main event or anything like that. That rightly so. The media and the coverage, the hype was about them. For me, it was just I had a job to do on that card. So I just wanted to focus on that and then get home so I could see Frank in the morning.
How did it feel with Glanton's power in there? Because it was obviously, aside from a lot of the main talking points of the week, there was so much talk about his power. He's a knockout artist. There were some decent shots he landed on you. Did you feel that power in the moment? How did it compare to some of the other guys you've been in there with? It didn't seem to hurt you at any stage, though.
No, I mean, he hit me with one half decent shot, which I noticed had power in it, but no, I didn't like. I was never troubled by it. I was never in trouble in there. Um, yeah, I mean, yeah, I've been hit harder. I've been hit harder. I've never known someone to talk so much and do so little. I know he tried to come, but yeah, it was there was no issue with the power whatsoever.
Let's talk about it then. I know that throughout the week it was, a lot of people tuned in expecting maybe a bit of a quieter, fairly standard build up with yourself, but Glanton kind of came in all guns firing. The media workouts, he was shouting at you stuff straight away, and then the press conference, there were some really unsavory comments when he said about, giving you brain damage. He, mentioned your son, your family. How did that feel in that moment? Of course, I think there was a lot of backlash he got towards it, and he did apologize for it later on at the weigh-in. But in those moments when you're hearing him come after you like that, how did you feel in there?
I heard him talk about um, he was calling me whatever, and then saying my son's got this as a father. But how does that look now? And I'm sure he wouldn't say that to me now. I didn't actually hear the comment about the what he was going to do to me about he said he's going to give me brain damage, which is just vulgar and disgusting in a sport where people do end up with severe brain injuries. Sometimes fatalities happen, and we've had it this year already. So it's really hard to listen to that. I didn't hear that in the press conference. I only heard it after on the way home that someone had messaged me, and then I watched it back, and I thought and that got me really riled up. And obviously, mentioning my family is never nice, but I understand he's trying to get under my skin and whatever, and he's not saying anything necessarily bad about my family. It's about me, but part of obviously the being my son's father, blah blah blah. But when he said that got to me, and I had to really focus in on just doing the job and realize that nothing that he says actually matters. I just need to go in there and do a job because I could have played right into his hand and just gone in there and really tried to knock him out. And maybe I went too much the other way and just boxed too much because watching that back, I was very comfortable in there. I had more gears to go, and I was just focused on the job at hand because it was felt so comfortable in there that maybe because I'd sort of got my head so right about not being trying to go in there to knock him out, then I probably could have pulled the trigger and maybe tried to get him out of there. Even though he's a tough guy, yeah, I could have probably done that, but yeah, it was difficult to deal with that because I didn't feel like it was about me winning. I felt like it was about not letting somebody who has that vulgarity be able to win and I needed integrity to win, and it was bigger than me and my fight and my career. It was more about people watching that, realizing that that doesn't do anything to help the situation. It was important to let integrity win, and thankfully it did.
Did you take comfort from the fact that he got so much backlash from it? So many people kind of said about how, that's a step too far. That's more than just trash talk. That's a very sensitive topic. Did you feel comfort that a lot of people did side with you in that situation?
Yeah, of course. Of of course, I'm glad there's people I'm backing him in what he's saying, and as well that it gave me more reason to, like I said, not let that win, and not let that sort of stuff get away with it um in terms of it winning the fight. Um, but the funniest thing is I saw him all week around the hotel, and he didn't say anything. The only time he ever said anything was in front of a camera. So unfortunately, that's the world we live in. And people are just trying to make a name for themselves on camera, and people would rather be infamous than not known at all, and um, you know, famous for the wrong things rather than known for the right things or barely known for the right things. And that's unfortunately the world it is with some people, and I've never been like that, and I don't like that side of things. But like I said, thankfully we got the win and put him in his place.
I know Chev Clark said something very similar there, what you said about how they saw him around all week as well and didn't end up saying anything until the cameras were on. So, yeah, I guess make of that what you will. There was a moment, though, of course, when the two of you, after the fight, you immediately kind of shared some words in that moment, and then you also spoke backstage. You were able to kind of shed any light on what you two guys kind of said in that moment?
Um, he kind of said about stuff in the build up about the handshake business and said it was at the workout, but I just explained myself. I said, look, I'm sorry for not shaking your hand. I honestly didn't see it, which is the truth. I don't remember ever blanking him. Um, it was on the day of the workout where I was in no fit state. Shouldn't have even really been in there, to be
You're
honest with you.
incredibly ill, weren't you, on
Yeah, I
that
was
day as well,
very,
weren't you?
very,
Yeah.
very ill that week. I was nearly falling off the stage when I was getting interviewed by Sky Sports. There's a point where I stepped back and nearly fell off the back of the stage because I was a bit all over the shop, and just trying to hold myself together for most of it. So I was well unaware of that. So I apologize. I'm not one to not shake somebody's hand. Um, and then I just said, we can't say things like that. I said, there's thousands of kids watching this to build up. This is the biggest show in one of the biggest shows in boxing this year in the last few years. It's huge, especially in the UK. It's an absolutely mammoth fight. There's a lot of eyes on it. Yes, they're not all on us, but there's still drip feeds down. And I just said, we got to show what this sport should be about. And I said, I know you're a good guy. Let's not have all this stuff. Like let's show people what this should be about. And so that's when we embraced and we sort of both put our arms up to the crowd and we got a good reception. I just think there's two just needs to be better role models, and that was basically what I was saying is if we're going to be given a platform, we need to be to on such a big stage, we need to be better role models. That goes out to Eubank Jr. for smashing an egg and whatnot, and you know, whatever it may be. But it there's lines to it. And you can't. There's going to be a bit of trash talk, a bit of back and forth here and there. That's fine, but let's not step over the line with stuff. But we got an opportunity to be good role models, and there's there just needs to be better ones out there because in a sport where it should be a gentleman's sport, we give everything, we risk our lives. Then it doesn't need to be all that. They can just we could set such a because of the sport we're in, you get a lot of respect through kids and stuff, and they see us as warriors, that gladiatorial thing and stuff like that. So that shows some decent humility and yeah, and some integrity, and that's kind of just what I was saying to him, and he apologized as well, and we we did what we did.
Well, I think huge respect for that, Chris, and I think you handled yourself with, real class around the situation as much as you could do. So I think, huge respect for that. Of course, with you
Thank
and your
you.
career next, the who's who was there at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Everyone in and around boxing. You've made it very clear that you want a shot at a world title again next. I didn't realize, of course, you're quite highly ranked within the Ring magazine. Is it two at cruiserweight as well? You're ranked in the Ring magazine.
Yeah, two of the Ring magazine as well. So yeah, there's opportunities there. You know, you've got Zerdo's got WBA, WBO, Jai Patai's got the IBF in the ring, and then you got Badu Jack who's fighting for his belt against Noel McKalian next weekend or this weekend coming, I should say. Um, so there's opportunities there. All of those have got current fights, so it's going to be a bit of a wait to see what goes on. I believe Jai Patai and Zerdo Ramirez are in talks that have a bout against each other. Um, there's well, yeah. So I just have to wait and see, and hopefully, can fight one of the champions. And if them two end up fighting each other, then obviously that would leave me with the WBC only. WBC route would be the only route to go down. So we'll see. But now it's just about family time, having a little bit of a rest from boxing, but staying fit and doing other stuff, and then and then seeing where we go.
And watching some more Bournemouth games between now and the end of the season.
Yeah, managed to get home, like I said, Saturday night and get along to the game yesterday, where we were pretty unfortunate, I thought, with the red card with Evan Nilsson. Players were slipping all game. It wasn't an isolated slip.
Like the canvas for your fight, wasn't it? It was a bit slippy up there, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah, it looked yeah, it was a bit slippy at times, but yeah, I think players were slipping all game, and I think you have to take everything into context. You look at the tackle alone, of course, I understand, but it's whatever you want to call it. If an insurance company would call it an act of God, and they wouldn't be paying out. So it's uh, it's one of those where you've got to take everything into context, and such a shame because we were massively in control up to the sending off, and then naturally when you go down to 10 men, there's only so much you can do.
Mm. Well, Chris, thanks so much for your time. Enjoy your rest, enjoy your time with your family, and we look forward to seeing where you go next.
Nice one, thank you, Dan. Thanks for your time, mate.